Yeah, well,
people were fired up. I tweeted it. Bo Nickal might be our only hope. They were fired up about that. And I didn't mean Bo Nickal right now. I feel like Bo Nickal right now might get beat up by Khamzat. But a year and a half, if Bo keeps developing his striking, he's one guy who could match his wrestling in the middleweight division.
Yeah.
Khamzat Chimaev asserted that he doesn't think Bo Nickal can take him down in a fight. He took exception to the notion of fighting MMA in the fashion of a wrestling match and claimed that this sport demands much more than mere wrestling prowess. Chimaev looked convinced that Nickal is not yet prepared to fight someone like him. Sean O'Malley shared his thoughts on a potential future fight between Khamzat Chimaev and Bo Nickal, admitting that though Bo is not ready yet, he might turn into a legitimate threat in a year and a half if he keeps improving his striking. O'Malley noted that Bo could be among the few middleweights with wrestling credentials to compare to Chimaev, but he also acknowledged that Chimaev is on another level right now and could probably dominate Bo if they were to fight today. He talked about Chimaev making the jump to face more challenging opponents, such as Drickus du Plessis, Sean Strickland, or even Alex Pereira at light heavyweight. Nevertheless, O'Malley pointed out that the UFC typically prefers to have fighters sweep out their division first before making such a leap, and Chimaev still has top contenders remaining to defeat. Bo Nickal spoke on Khamzat Chimaev's wrestling.
Goes up there, runs through DDP, runs through Strickland, whatever. I guess it's hard to say because these fights take so long to play out. It's like, where's Pereira by then at 205? Khamzat is a big fella. Khamzat takes Pereira down.
I don't know if UFC, if
that's a big fucking fight.
UFC would make him earn it. The UFC's not like...
No, for sure.
They've done it for a few people, but it's like you got to clear out your division first before you move up. There's still challenges for Khamzat. Like I said,
no, for sure.
He hasn't fought... That's the first guy he's fought in the top 10.
Cannoneers up there. There's some good fights.
And said that although the recent video of Chimaev training with the Russian national team was impressive, it still doesn't demonstrate that he is one of the world's top wrestlers. Bo conceded Chimaev appeared sharper than anticipated, but contended that the majority of the proof of his wrestling superiority is in the form of videos of him defeating lower-level competition, such as high schoolers in Sweden or MMA fighters with minimal grappling experience.
Did any of you guys happen to see the training footage that just came out on hospital? He was with the Russian national team.
I did, yeah.
Will you admit that he looked a little better than that? I thought he looked a little sharper than I was aware he was.
He's pretty good, yeah, pure wrestling. He's got some skills. What information do we have? We have a short video of him training with good wrestlers. We have video of him beating up some high school kids in Sweden. And then we have video of him throwing down guys in MMA who have never grappled at a competitive high.
Bo Nickal admitted that Khamzat Chimaev currently holds a higher position in the UFC rankings and organizational standing. However, he is of the opinion that a future fight between them is much awaited by fans. Although he's actually looking forward to seeing Chimaev's next fight against Robert Whitaker, seeing this as a battle between two elite athletes, Bo is already planning ahead. He views a possible clash with Chimaev as inevitable and is already anticipating that moment when they will finally meet in the octagon.
Obviously, Khamzat's a little bit ahead of me in terms of position in the organization and rankings, but I feel like, that's a matchup that a lot of people want to see. And, that fight with Whitaker is going to be an amazing fight. Two guys that are competing at a very high level, and I'm looking forward to watching it and definitely looking forward to that fight down the line.
Bo asserted with certainty that he doesn't think Chimaev is a top 3 or top 5 wrestler in the world, and reiterated that he himself is on that level. He said he foresees that in a battle between the two, Chimaev would tire out eventually, not be able to take him down, and have to punch, whereas Bo thinks he would be in control as the battle rages on.
High world-class level. Do I think he's like a guy that could be top 3, top 5 in the world? Probably not. Myself, I know that I'm a top 3 guy in the world. I don't think there's really a guy in the world at 86 kilos that could beat me in wrestling right now. His biggest thing that's gonna crush him, especially against a fight against me, is you're gonna get tired. You're going to go like this, and I'm gonna go like this as the fight goes on. You're not gonna take me down, so you're gonna have to strike with me. I'm probably gonna be able to take you down, and the longer the fight goes.
Bo Nickal showed great interest in a potential fight with Khamzat Chimaev in the future, labeling it his dream fight at middleweight. Although he is aware that Chimaev is ahead of him in the rankings right now and probably headed for a title shot, Bo believes he's gaining ground quickly. He complimented Chimaev on his recent bout against Robert Whitaker, stating it was very impressive, particularly because everyone thought that fight would be much closer. Bo mentioned that he predicted Chimaev would dominate.
My dream fight, you didn't ask me, but my dream fight at 185 is you versus Khamzat Chimaev. That's the one, for so many reasons. Did you watch his last fight against Robert Whitaker, and if so, what do you think, especially of the takedown and then the finish?
Yeah, I did watch it, and
I think it was super impressive. To be honest, it's funny because a lot of people expected that to be a tough fight for him. And, you can ask around all the people that I talked to. I kind of thought he would do that to Whitaker, which it's so, it's one thing to think that or to kind of see that happening, but he actually did it, which is super impressive.
But seeing him actually go out and make it look easy was another level of impressive. He also noted a change in Chimaev's mentality, which stood out to him in that fight.
Not an easy fight for anybody, and he made it look easy. So, I was really impressed with his last performance. And yeah, it seemed like he kind of took a different mentality into the fight as well, which was cool to see. But that's a fight I'm looking forward to. I think obviously he's quite a bit ahead of me right now, but he'll be fighting for the belt soon, and then I'll catch up quick.
Surging UFC middleweight Reinier de Ridder sent a warning to Khamzat Chimaev and the rest of the division at UFC on ESPN 67 last weekend. The Dutch Knight, who was a former Division I world champion before entering the UFC, stopped the previously undefeated Bo Nickal inside 2 rounds. It was one of the biggest upsets of 2025 so far, as Nickal is considered to be one of the most promising wrestlers to ever grace the octagon. Another powerful wrestler de Ridder has his sights on is the Chechen-born Khamzat Chimaev, whom he sees facing in the near future. In an interview with Submission Radio, de Ridder was asked how a bout between him and Boers would play out. RDR said, "Yeah, that's a very cool one. That's one that I see happening pretty quickly. I know how it goes down. We've had some rounds together in the gym. I think I have a good shot in the fight, yeah." Reinier de Ridder breaks down what makes Khamzat Chimaev dangerous inside the cage. When asked if his significant experience training and sparring with Khamzat Chimaev would play a big role if ever they fight, Reinier de Ridder pointed out that it's been 4 to 5 years since he and Boers locked horns in the gym. Chael Sonnen explained that Bo Nickal and Khamzat Chimaev both have the opportunity to fight each other and know exactly what steps they need to take to make the matchup happen, but they intentionally avoid crossing that line.
Bo Nickal and Chimaev have every opportunity to fight. Those two guys know full well what it would take to get the fight, and those two guys are not going to do it. They get right up to the line, and they know if they just spit across, they'll have a fight, and they make sure that they don't. These are 2 undefeated killers with a very similar skill set, not to mention a very similar age. Nobody is going to want to fight a guy who's got seemingly equal skills. If you're on the second floor of the UFC, you don't put Chimaev and Bo together.
While Chael admits he was a little surprised that more fighters haven't yet called out Bo, he is still excited about the direction of the 185-pound division and thinks the UFC is being smart about it. For wrestling fans who love high IQ fights, Bo vs. Chimaev is like the fight to watch.
I feel like that it's owed to, I think, us as fighters, to the fans, to the MMA community for that to be a world championship fight. And yeah, I mean, I can't wait, because at the end of the day, for me, the idea is, I want to fight the best guys in the world.
Bo Nickal is extremely passionate about the prospect of fighting Khamzat Chimaev, admitting it's the one fight that pushes him every day while training. He feels this bout should be for a world title and not some random fight, given the importance it holds for both the fans as well as their legacies.
And it's like, that guy's freaking good. He's a savage. He's a beast. He's from, the mountains. And guess what, man? I'm from America, and I'm gonna come out there and we'll see what we can do. But I believe in my skills. I've proved it against the best of the world in one sport. And now we're going to do it in fighting, which is the ultimate sport. And so for me, the excitement is, I'm thinking about that every single day in training, even though I know I'm going to have however many fights in between now and then. That's like the one that motivates me.
Bo calls Chimaev's cardio his greatest weakness, forecasting that when the fight is taken into the later rounds, Chimaev will start to tire, but he will only become stronger. As much as the competitive advantage, Bo has respect by referring to Chimaev as a savage and a beast, but categorically says that he can't be held down, and even if taken down, he'll pop right back up.
With Khamzat, that's like, where I really feel it. And that's how I know I'm gonna perform my best when it comes down to it, because that's what I train every single day to do. And that's what I'm thinking about all the time. So I couldn't agree more. He's pretty good, yeah, pure wrestling. I think that, he's got some skills. It's hard to say like exactly what they are, because what information do we have? We have a short video of him training with good wrestlers. So that's maybe 1% of what's actually going on. So maybe you can extrapolate and say like he's doing really well all the time, but maybe not. We have video of him beating up some high school kids in Sweden. So take that for what it is. And then we have video of him throwing down guys in MMA who have never grappled.
Bo Nickal gave his opinion about Chimaev's wrestling, stating that he views Chimaev as a high-level, world-class wrestler, possibly a top 3 or top 5 kid if he went all in on wrestling, but doesn't think Chimaev is there yet. Bo firmly asserted that he believes he is among the best 3 wrestlers in the world at 86 kilos, and although he hasn't wrestled for more than 3.5 years, he doesn't believe there's anyone at that weight who can beat him in a straight wrestling match.
High world-class level. You know, you have him fighting Gilbert Burns and struggling a little bit with Gilbert Burns. But I do think that he does have skills. Do I think he's like a top-level world-class wrestler, a guy that could be, you know, top 3, top 5 in the world? Probably not. Maybe if he trained wrestling full-time, he could. But right now, I don't believe that. I think right now, myself, I know that I'm a top 3 guy in the world. I don't think there's really a guy in the world at 86 kilos that could beat me in wrestling right now.
The 2 fighters have evolved in their games, and the Dutchman isn't sure if their time in the training room together would play a major factor in their potential fight. However, he gave some deep insight on what makes Chimaev so effective inside the octagon. He said, "I think what makes Chimaev special is the aggression that he comes out with, and his opponents, get overwhelmed. They get overwhelmed by how explosive he comes out and how hard he chases the back right away. So yeah, that's mostly what makes him so dangerous. We've seen a lot from him already. We've seen a lot of fights from him already. The 2 times Khamzat Chimaev heard the scorecards in the UFC were after very telling bouts against Kamaru Usman and Gilbert Burns, both known grapplers. Against Usman, Chimaev was able to secure the takedown after numerous attempts. However, he wasn't able to finish the Nigerian Nightmare after failing to overwhelm him with his early blitz. As for Burns, Durinho basically threatened Chimaev early with his submission game off of his back, basically forcing Boers to keep the fight standing. What transpired was a back-and-forth slugfest that could have gone either way. Bo Nickal and Khamzat Chimaev have exchanged strong words and ambitions toward a potential future clash, though both acknowledge it's not quite time yet. Bo Nickal stated that while he'd like to see himself get a couple more fights at middleweight, his long-term goal is to face Khamzat in a huge title fight.